Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I am here with Sarah from Laugh Healthy. Welcome, Sarah. I'm so excited that you're here on the podcast.
I'm really excited to be here. I feel very honored to have this opportunity to learn even more from you.
Yeah. So today's going to be a unique episode because we're actually going to be working with a bunch of people and we're going to actually be helping them coach like I would a regular client. So first, I want to have you introduce a little bit about what your brand is and what your business is and what you offer.
Well, my business name is Laugh Healthy. I excite people and inspire them to learn how to better their own health by taking matters into their own hands instead of waiting for something to be humorous, learning how to laugh on purpose because it helps your heart, it helps your oxygen flow, and it helps people not be so sad, stressed, anxious, and depressed.
Yeah, this is really needed right now. So that's why I was excited when you applied. I was like, oh, this is such a great, cool brand. And I don't think anyone else in the Twin Cities is doing this.
Well, there are a few people,
Oh,
but I hope
really?
that I'm one of the leaders.
Yeah. So you got to stand out from the crowd. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So when did you launch your social media and everything?
I have been doing laughter yoga for about 14 years, and I started doing it in earnest in social media by starting a Facebook page probably back in 2005, 2006.
Oh, wow.
But I've had a business really going for the last 6 years.
Okay. Awesome. And so your Instagram is a little bit newer then for social media?
Yes, I'm not exactly sure. Probably the last 5 or 6 years. And actually, I'm a photographer as well. So I
Oh, okay.
started just my personal page some years before that, just really sharing photographs.
Okay. So you have a personal account as well. Is that something that you want people to follow as well from your
Oh,
brand?
sure, they could. Sarah Routman, and that's where I put my photographs.
Okay, so one tip I have, you can actually link both. So what I would
Oh,
actually do is you can inside your Instagram bio, you can do the @ and then tag your other account. So this is actually something I was going to bring up to you. So one of the things that I see on your Instagram is you say Laugh Healthy is your actual username, but you might want to actually put your name right here under the picture of your face. So if
mhm,
somebody is searching your name, this page will also come up. So say they meet you at a networking event, but they don't remember the name of your company, but they remember your name. If they
right,
type in Sarah Routman, this page will still come up if you add that as your name, like underneath. So that's
great.
something I would actually change, is that you can actually change that and then it's actually searchable. So for example, like if you go to Twin Cities Collective, and I'm showing it right now, you see instead of writing Twin Cities Collective, it says MN Online and Offline Community. So when people type in MN, my business comes up. So that's something to
Got
think
it.
about, is when it comes to search, you might want to actually add your name as well. So I'm going to go back to this page. I really like your bio. I think it's a really great description of what you do, and it's very, very easy. The one thing I want to ask you about is it free to do the calls on Monday? Is that something that people have to pay
Yes.
for? Okay, so those are
No.
free.
Yep.
I would definitely maybe write that somehow. So like free
Okay.
call, because I
Okay.
think sometimes people might be like, do I have to sign up for this? That's just something I would recommend doing.
Okay.
Um, the other thing I want to talk about is your actual highlights. So as we scroll down, I love that you have them. I think that's awesome. You kind of have understood how to do that. But one thing I want to recommend is having more, and also having them be very descriptive. So for the first one where it says highlights, what is in that category?
Mm, those are aspects of a laughter yoga session.
Okay, so I would call it yoga session or laugh yoga session instead of highlights, because what I think about when I think about highlights or the things that come up above, your post, these are basically like the menu of your website. That's like how I like to describe them. So you could even have an about one, you could have a services one, you could have a testimonials one. So start to think about what are the different categories that people are going to want to know about your business. Because the thing about Instagram, it's a bunch of squares when you actually go to your feed, but when it comes
Right.
to your highlights, you can actually sort them into categories. And actually, like for me, if you go back to ours, you'll see I have a bunch of different ones. I've got blog posts, I've got coaching, I've got the podcast. So it's all things that you'd want to know about us. So you can actually go in and actually find out a little bit more about each one, past workshops. So really sorting that out.
So if you click on any one of those,
Mm-hmm.
is just one like PDF or one
Nope, it's
image?
a lot of them. So if you go to like the podcast, you'll actually You can add multiple. So you can add up to 100 posts on each.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you can add up to 100. So when you're posting on your story and you highlight, and you can actually go back and highlight past stories that have expired. That's the nice thing about the highlights, is it's highlighting past posts. You can actually go in. And one thing I recommend doing is, if you go to our IGTV, I think I have it on here. You can actually create icons like these on Canva and then add those to your profile so that you have like a picture instead of like text. And then so under, you see how they're all green and they all are in my branding. So you can actually go, and I can actually show that to you maybe after the call.
Okay.
Otherwise I can show it, share a link to that in the podcast to how to do that. Cause that's something that I think it's very easy to explain. And it's very visually telling. One thing I was going to ask you is, do you have like a color palette or anything for your brand?
I do, but it's a little tricky. I have my logo, which is Laugh Healthy, and you can find it on my website.
Mm-hmm.
I should put it on here. That now that you're asking the question, I realize that. In fact, the one that says highlights, that I think that one has my logo in it, and it's sort of a teal and a burgundy kind of color.
Okay, so what I recommend, and this is something we'll talk about as I scroll down your feed, you're going to want to use that consistently throughout all of your graphics, using the same color palette every time. So for me, I have a light green and a dark green color, and every single piece of content that I make, I use those colors. So one of the things I want to talk about with your actual Instagram is, one of the things I noticed quickly is that there is a lot of text. There is a lot of text. That is not great for Instagram. Instagram is a very visual, very photo-centric platform. So what I recommend you doing is using more pictures of people laughing. Pictures of, whether it's a stock photo of someone laughing or a picture you've taken. And then all of the text that you post in all of these posts, that goes in your caption. So that's actually the things that describe in the bottom part. So for example, if I go to this one, this is your latest post, all of this information is going to go in your caption. So instead of having that, you could even put just a picture of the emojis. That could be the picture. But having all of that information is going to be put in the caption. And the reason why is it makes it so much cleaner, and then people are going to the caption to actually read it. I think of captions as like a blog post. So that's all of the information that you're going to share. You obviously can add your hashtags at the bottom. But one thing I do is I actually add a bunch of hashtags in the first comment. So once I'm done posting that post, I actually go in and copy and paste a bunch of hashtags. So I'll actually show you on mine. So if you go to like the one today, so this is my post, you'll see I have a caption. And in the first comment, you'll see I have all of my hashtags. So this actually keeps it so that it's not cluttering up the caption. So this is something to think about. And I've talked about this before. It works the same way if you use it in the caption or if you use it in the comment or in the first comment. So
it doesn't really matter which way you do it.
Nope. It's really, and that's the nice thing. So if you like click on any of these hashtags, you'll be able to find my post still, even if it's not in the caption. And you can do it either way, but personally, I keep the caption to just my hashtag. So you should start utilizing, do you use your hashtag? Do you have a hashtag?
Yeah, it's Laugh Healthy.
Okay, so I would put that at the end of every caption that you write, just your hashtag, because it stands out because it's the only one. And then the rest of the first comment, you'll have all of your hashtags. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So those are like my biggest tips for you when it comes to your Instagram. You're going to want to focus a lot more on photos than graphics. What are the posts that have done the best for you?
Honestly, I haven't looked.
Okay. So so one of the things you can do is you can actually go in and check which posts are doing the best. You can actually, I'll show you on mine. So if you go to this button right here where it says insights, you can actually see which content has done the best. So if you go to activity, you can see your reach. My reach is obviously down right now. That's okay. Last week I did really good, and this week, that's the thing, is every week it depends. So you can see how many people have viewed your story in the last day. You can see how many people it's reached. So like this shows my biggest posts of the year. And you can see actually graphics have done really well for me. Text posts where it's just text. There's nothing else, but there is obviously a caption as well. These have been my biggest reaches. So start to think about, okay, look at your insights and see which posts have done the best for you, because that's kind of your audience telling you what they want to see more of. So that's something that you should start looking at more and sort of tracking. And that's something to think about. Time of day is a really big, important step of Instagram, is what time you post. I post at the same time every day to be consistent. But that's just something to think about. So
Is there a particular time of day that is better?
I would say early morning, like I post at 8 a.m. or evening, because people are on their phones. So like 5 p.m. or like 9 p.m. So think about when people are actually scrolling Instagram. It's when they're getting up in the morning. First thing a lot of people do is they look on Instagram, maybe lunchtime, noonish. But don't post at like 2 p.m. because no one's on their phones. They're working. You have to try to get as many people liking in the first hour to kind of continue the cycle of growing and Instagram pushing it out to more people. So that's really my biggest tip for the algorithm. And I talk about this at my workshops. A lot is like that strategy piece. But let's talk a little bit about what kind of content you have been doing and what you kind of want more people to know about your brand. What have you been doing in the last month?
Well, I don't think that I've actually done a very good job posting in Instagram in the last month.
Okay.
But the message that I'm trying to get out is I am on Facebook Live every day for 20 minutes. And I do want people to know that, because it's just a service that I'm doing for free for people to help them de-stress and get excited about learning some new tips and tools that they can do all the time when they're feeling down, when they're feeling stressed, when they're feeling anxious. And it's all about purposeful, playful laughter. And so, this is my little studio, and this is where those calls happen. And so my message really is always going to be about seizing control of your own life and doing it by learning laughter. I'm trying to really help people learn how to take laughter seriously. And I know there's a little bit of an oxymoron in that, but we think that laughter is about humor, and it really isn't. Only 20% of laughter is related to humor. And so when you realize that, it's very powerful, because you realize that you can put laughter into your life anytime to make yourself feel better.
Okay, so when it comes to like other ways that you are actually doing social media, you said Facebook.
Right.
What else are you doing? Are you doing blogging? Are you doing email marketing? What other platforms
I am doing email marketing. I have about 500 or between 500 and 600 people on an email list, and I send out a weekly reminder about the free laughter call on Mondays, but it always has in it some articles, some videos, something that is, free content about research on laughter, why you should do it, things like that. And I just recently learned how to do the stories on Instagram, and that if I do a story on Instagram, I can have it simultaneously create the story on Instagram, but also the story on Facebook. So I've been trying to utilize that. And I've been trying to spend a bit more time on, well, actually, I should spend a lot more time on LinkedIn. And I know I should be blogging. It's, like most people who are not as comfortable with all the technology and doing all of it myself, it's a little harder to, just
Totally.
get all of it.
I totally see that. So one thing I want to ask you is, have you been able to track where people are finding your website on analytics or anything?
I have never done that. No.
Okay, so one of the things I would recommend doing is setting up Google Analytics, which is a free software. And what this does is allows you to actually track which like social media site is bringing you the most traffic. So you can actually, I actually have a training on I'll send you my Instagram TV I did where I show that. What are you on WordPress for your website? What are you using?
No, it's Wix.
Wix. So what you do is you actually copy a piece of code into Wix, and then we'll actually, it's free. I'll send you information, but what you'll do is it takes about 24 hours to actually start. But what will happen is you will be able to see, and actually, what, I'll show you mine. So one of the things you can do is, so I use it a lot to see where my traffic's coming from. So if I go over to acquisition and I click on social, I can see today where my traffic has come from. So I've had 10 hits from Facebook and 6 from Pinterest. If you look at yesterday, I've had 28 from Facebook, 17 from Pinterest, 5 from LinkedIn, and 2 from Instagram. So you'll see that Instagram is actually one of my least, even though I have the most followers on Instagram, it's actually one of my least traffic driving software or platforms. I actually get a way more links from Facebook and Pinterest because they are very much more link focused. So
Uh-huh.
that's something to think about is where are you driving your traffic? Because that's where you need to focus more of your time. I
Mhm.
would say that for you, I have a feeling you're probably getting more links from Facebook just
Mhm.
because you've had it longer. And how many followers do you have on there?
Oh, I know it's over 1,000, but I'd
Yeah.
like to increase it by a lot.
Yeah. I would say you probably get a lot more traffic. How often are you sharing on Facebook?
Oh, multiple times a day because
And it,
I have several pages, and like I said, I'm on Facebook Live, so I always, um, post it and then share it, and then share it to my other two pages and comment on it. And I comment. I very much give a lot of, I don't know what you call it, social media love. Like I really try when
mm,
I'm engaging with, especially content I think is valuable or people I know. I try to always like, comment, and share when appropriate.
yeah,
So.
and I think you're probably doing really well on Facebook. So that's something you need to start tracking is how much of the traffic going to your website is coming from Facebook versus Instagram.
Mhm.
And then the other thing you're going to start thinking about is how do I increase that? So let's actually go to your website real quick. One of the things I want to look at is just kind of the first thing. So I love the fact that you have kind of added the stuff about COVID-19 because that's super relevant right now. And I think
Mhm.
that's really helpful to see. Um, so when it says book a session now, is that a one-on-one session or what is that?
That's just send me an email and say, I'd like to talk to you about, mostly it was individuals wanting to hire me to come and do a wellness session for a corporation or maybe a bridal party or maybe a speaking event. I've been a keynote speaker and a breakout speaker. And so it was rarely one-on-one. And
Okay.
although that's something I'm going to be starting to do more now.
So instead of book a session, I might even say like get a free call or contact me because that's usually the first step. Usually people don't book something straight off. I usually offer a free 15-minute consultation so that they can kind of understand the process and then I can send them like my intake form and all of this, so that might be interesting to think about what is your call to action because this is the first button they're seeing.
Mhm.
One thing you might want to add, so I'm kind of scrolling through one thing you might want to add, and I'm not sure if this is just blank for some reason, where it says services.
Oh, you're supposed well, okay, so one thing I should tell you, I'm in the process. I didn't get it finished last night, but I would say it's two-thirds done of revamping the
Okay.
homepage because I'm what I'm doing is putting out there some statistics about workplace stress and then what is laughter? Is it really the best medicine? So some health, benefits and what is it? And then information about me, and then you can get
Okay.
deeper into the website.
Gotcha. So one thing I would for sure add to this homepage when you're redoing it is a way for people to sign up for your email list. So one of the things that I do, if you go to our homepage, let me see if I can get there. Um, if you go to the homepage of Twin Cities Collective, if you scroll down to the bottom, we actually have a free hashtag guide. So this is the thing that I have on the homepage to get people to sign up for my email list is I have a free lead magnet or a free opt-in. So if people sign up for my email list, they actually get sent something. So
Yep.
one of the things you might want to set up, what email software are you using?
Uh, it's Office. Oh gosh, I use Google for my personal one, and my website one is connected to Outlook.
But do you have
Is
like
that
an
what
email software,
Oh, you mean the list, like
like a
when I send out
marketing
my monthly
software?
ones? That would be MailChimp.
MailChimp. So what you can do is you can set up a MailChimp form where you can actually set up an automation within MailChimp where if somebody signs up for your email list, this specific list, they get sent something instantly. So
Uh-huh.
that's something that you might want to look into with MailChimp. And there's a lot of free guides on MailChimp on how to do that. But this actually incentivizes people to join your list. Or you could even just say, sign up for our email list to get, recommend or reminders of our weekly calls.
Mm-hmm.
So even just adding a list and you can actually just copy and paste code into your website. This is a really great way to get more people to your list. I honestly think if you add this to your homepage, you're going to get way more signups because people are going to want to get those reminders every week for your
Mm-hmm.
calls.
Right. In fact, I do have that, but I don't have it on the homepage. It's on the events page.
Yeah.
So it's a good point
I
to.
would definitely put it like if you scroll up, you'll see I also have a sign up for my events. It's the exact same
Mhm.
list, but this is just, I say but I also put that in the homepage. So you might want to even add events to your homepage if you have some coming up. So if you see I scroll down, I actually share the events I have coming up even on the homepage, because sometimes people don't click on events. So I have to
Right.
get all that information on the homepage so that people are able to capture that information if it's their first time on my website. And that's the thing, is
Right.
people spend an average of like 2 minutes on a website. So if they
Yep.
can't find the information they need, even if they just go to the homepage, because like most people just go to the homepage and leave, honestly, like that's just a thing. A lot of people don't even
Right.
click to your other pages. So having
Right.
a really, really good homepage is so important for your brand. So making sure that you're able to capture the people that have landed on your homepage, that's a really, really powerful thing. I would also recommend starting a blog. You said you have a blog or no?
I have one. There's only one blog on it right now.
Okay.
It's I would love it if you could tell me, and I don't know if you can,
Yeah.
which is the most like prioritize the things for me
Yeah,
because
totally. Okay. So the first thing I would do is get Google Analytics. This way it'll tell you where your traffic's coming from. Is it coming from Google? Is it coming from Facebook? Is it coming from LinkedIn? Where is it coming from?
Mhm.
Then you have to start thinking about what are the ones you want to target. First of all, who is your target audience? Is it older people? Is it younger people? What's kind of the age range for your audience?
I would say it's probably 30 to 65, probably mostly women, although I'm really going after corporate people now. That's what
Mm,
I've kind of shifted a little bit. But I would say professionals who are looking for stress management, self-care, healthcare
okay.
workers.
So when it comes to Instagram, I'll be honest, it's a younger audience. Like
Yeah.
people on there are a little bit younger. So I will say that even though that's a really good place to post and to grow your brand recognition, it might not be the best place to find actual clients. So
Hmm.
that's the part where you have to start thinking, okay, with Facebook, that's going to be really important to get people from Facebook to your website to sign up for your email list so that they come to your actual calls. So start to think about
Hmm.
what your sales funnel looks like in terms of where do they start and then where should they end. So, for example, you said LinkedIn. I think that's a really, really important one because you said a lot of the people on there are a little bit more corporate and they're a little bit more people that are going to be helping you grow your brand with businesses. So that might be a really good place to start. For you, I would think that it's more word of mouth and less people aren't Googling laugh yoga, if that makes sense. So,
Hmm.
right. So I think it's more of that surprise and awe of, oh, this is cool, I want to learn more, versus
Hmm.
some industries it's all about they have to get really good search results because a lot of people are searching for them. For you, that's probably not the case, so you really have to focus on content over search. So I think for you, really, really relying on your LinkedIn, Facebook, and then email list. Those would probably be the three I would really focus on. Instagram is obviously super important. Do you use Twitter? I see it at the top here.
I do. For a while, I was using it a lot more. I haven't used it much lately. I
Okay.
just, I know that it's short and to the point,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just for a person who prefers to be outside taking a walk and behind a camera lens taking pictures. It's really hard for me to spend so much time on social media because
Yeah.
each time I've mastered one, they
Mm-hmm.
change it.
So that's
So,
kind of so one of the things I recommend doing, and this is just personally how I do it, is I create the same content and post it on each site.
uh-huh.
So I start with Instagram because Instagram is where I create the visual part. So I create some sort of graphic, if it's a picture or an image. Then I just share that to Twitter. I share it to Facebook. I share it to LinkedIn, the same exact information. I might tweak it a little bit for the audience, but that's a really great way to be consistent with all of them. So, because you might have a different audience on each. So you might have different people following your page. And if they don't see it on one, maybe they'll see it on the other if they are following you on multiple accounts.
Hmm.
So I think for you, figuring out, okay, so let's prioritize. I would say Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email. Those are like the top ones that you got to start focusing on with um, trying to drive traffic back to your site. Because that's really the goal of social media, is to bring people back to your website, to learn about your services, to learn about your email list so that they can sign up for it. So one thing I wanted to ask is, does the LinkedIn, does that go to your page or your personal account?
Yeah, I don't have a page, and I would love to know how important is that.
I would say it's important to have, but I honestly found with LinkedIn, posting on your personal gets way more traffic. I've
Right.
tried posting on my page and then sharing it to my personal from my page. It doesn't do as well. You do
Mm-hmm.
need to have one though. So if somebody is curious, so like here, let me show you an example on my LinkedIn. Let me look real quick. So you'll see on mine that I actually have right here, you see where it says owner. So
Yes.
I actually, if you click on that, it actually does go to the Twin Cities Collective page. So it
Mm-hmm.
actually shows, so if people want to learn a little bit more, you can see the last time I posted was 2 months ago. I don't really post on there very often. I probably should. But
Right.
for me, I just want it like have that logo under my experience. So you could actually add a page, say that you work there, add the logo. That's about it. You don't really even need to add that much content to it, maybe a couple of posts. Maybe what you could do is write some things about you. I also saw you had a YouTube channel. Do you post a lot of videos?
Yes, I haven't been able to post them as fast as I want. I figured out how to transfer Facebook Lives
Mm,
to video, and then
yeah.
I started a new playlist to try to get
Hmm.
all of them, but they're not all there yet.
Okay,
But yeah,
so one thing you could do is upload those to LinkedIn. Just copy and paste the links and say, so is it so it's actual videos of your work, like your calls.
yes, uh-huh.
Okay. One thing I'd also recommend doing is posting those on Instagram. Even a click, like a 1 minute clip of it. So what
How do you do just a 1 minute clip?
so what you would do is you would, so you have the video footage right from
Yep,
Facebook. So
uh-huh.
you would download that to your phone like it would be a video. And
Right,
then when
it's
you,
an MP4.
yep, it's an MP4. So what you do is like if I wanted to upload like this video that I just took today, I would just upload it like a post.
Uh-huh,
You'd make sure the cover is good. It would be like a clip from this. And
uh-huh.
then you just post it like a regular post. So
Oh,
it's the
okay.
same. And if it's longer than a minute, you can actually make it an IGTV, which here, let me show you. So what I do for IGTV, so IGTV is if it's over 10 minutes. So like this, let's see if I can find a good clip. I have a lot of, this is a 2 minute clip. So if I click next here, you'll see there's two options, short video or long video. The
Mm,
short video is up to 1 minute, but the long video is actually going to be an IGTV video, which will then
uh-huh.
get added to your IGTV, which I'll show you. I actually have a lot of those. So these are the ones that I've uploaded that are over a minute. And you can also add a custom thumbnail to those. So I've added obviously these, and I actually have a video on how to do that. So if you want to watch that, you can see how
Oh,
I
I'd
add
love to.
these. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
on my Instagram account. If you go, actually, it's on one of these IGTVs. It's this one, how to create IGTV covers. So, and I create everything in Canva. So that's where I create all of my graphics. I have my style guide in there, so I have all my colors. So I really think actually adding some videos to your Instagram will help you people see, visually see what you do. I think that
Okay.
would be super powerful. I think you can add them to your stories as well. The nice thing about stories is it actually cuts it into 15-minute segments for you. So if you try uploading a video to your Instagram story from your phone, like for example, if I wanted to upload this video, you see how on the bottom there's like 4 different parts?
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
actually cut it into, if it's over 15 seconds, it'll cut it into segments for you. So you
Got
don't
it.
even have to cut it. So that's something to think about. Um, so we're kind of coming up on 30 minutes. So I would love to ask, is there any other additional questions you have about your social media? I know this is a lot for 30 minutes, but I think that we kind of want to sum it up and make sure that you are good to go with kind of knowing the next steps.
I definitely feel like I know the next steps. If you could figure out a way to add hours to the day, brain cells to my brain, eye power, that would be really great. But I do want to use this time to just tell you something. I have been on Facebook for a long, long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I have joined many, many groups. And I have never found a group that has been more valuable to
Aw,
me than the Twin Cities Collective,
thank
because
you.
it's really great the way you give us, this is what you do on Monday, this is what you do on Tuesday. And I actually it all comes at you so quickly and it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
manage. What I created my own little page to keep track of the people that I wanted to follow up
Oh,
with and that
awesome.
I have followed up with, but I've made some really meaningful connections and I love the structure and the way the group is. I find it really, really valuable. So
Thank you.
just really want to thank you for that. And
Yeah.
also listening to your podcasts and video how-tos. I'm not usually a big fan of those, but you've made me a fan because it was very clear. It was very concise, and it was just, I feel like I'm definitely more educated now.
Good. That warms my heart.
Well,
I see you active in there all the time. So I'm like, so that's like the thing is the more you post in there, the more people are going to recognize you. You know,
yeah,
they're going to remember you. They're going to see your face and they're going to see your brand. And that's a huge part of marketing is just getting your face and brand out there. So I think
yeah,
that's
for
really
sure.
powerful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And we can follow you on Instagram at Laugh Healthy, correct?
That is right.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
thanks guys for listening. And we're moving on to the next person on our coaching.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop. Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this first ever podcast coaching episode. If you are, make sure to screenshot your phone and upload it to your story and tag us. We would love to see you guys listening to this episode. I wanted to let you know that if this is something you want for your business, if you want me to sit with you and talk through all the things that you could be improving upon right now, doing a social media audit for you, really focusing on strategy to make more money, to get more clients, to update and adjust your services for the quarantine or just in general, make sure to head to twincitiescollective.com/coaching. You can learn all about the services that we offer. I sit with people one-on-one, usually in person, but obviously now over Zoom. And we really just get into the core of the things that you're struggling with, whether it's email marketing, video, social media like Instagram, updating your Pinterest, your SEO, getting people to traffic to your website. So literally all of the things that you need to run an online business, I can help with. So make sure to go to twincitiescollective.com/coaching to learn more. Now we're back to the episode and our second guest. Welcome, guys. Welcome to our second coaching person. This is Michaela Lauren. She is a wellness coach. If you want to introduce yourself and a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this opportunity and just to learn all the things. So yeah, I am a functional nutritional therapy practitioner which sounds like a mouthful for sure, but basically I just use a whole foods approach to nutrition. So I work with people one-on-one, and I also do group coaching and am in the process of creating other content and other fun things to share too. So I have like a website and I do blog posts and things like that as well.
Yeah, I noticed that. So I looked a little bit at your website, but what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of walk through a little bit about the things that, you know, I like, things that we can improve upon from a marketing perspective on your Instagram. I have to say your Instagram is really beautiful. Like it
Thank
is
you.
very good photography. I think it's very, very clean. I think it's very, it's like exactly what I would want of Instagram to look like.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
the biggest thing I would definitely recommend is I would actually add a little bit more graphics.
Okay.
You know, clean graphics that go with your branding. Your website is very well branded. Maybe once every 6 or 7 posts, put up a graphic.
Okay.
The reason why is right now it looks a lot like a personal blog, and so there's not really enough on there to kind of stop people and say, oh, they have this coming up, or oh, there's an event, or oh, this is coaching. Just even the word coaching or
Okay.
group coaching,
Yeah.
and that's your post, could be really, really helpful. So when somebody actually stumbles upon, because right now it's helpful in the bio, but I don't see it in your pictures just by scrolling down the feed. If I had to look at this like right now and say, what does this person do? I'd think you're a food blogger.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think you kind of do some of that, but I
Yeah.
think really if you're wanting to focus on growing your business, I think you did. So there's this principle I use where it's like 25% should be personal, 25% should be promotional, and then like 25% I'm trying to remember. And then like 50% should be like testimonials, your clients. So focusing more on
Oh,
the
okay.
people that you've helped, because right now you're focusing a lot on yourself, which I think is good for the branding part. But I think
Mhm.
it's a little bit too much about yourself because we're not seeing the results of the people you've worked with. And
Mhm.
how many clients have you worked with in the past? Or how many are you working with right now?
Yeah, so currently I have a couple people that I'm working with, and I've worked with I guess everyone that I have worked with I'm kind of still working
Okay.
with, but I haven't had a lot of formal clients. So I
Mm.
just finished my certification in November.
Okay.
So I'm like really just kind of getting off the ground. And
Yeah.
I mean, this was my personal Instagram, and I have shifted
Ah,
it to be more business
okay.
focused, but I didn't want to start something totally new. I already have like
Totally.
a pretty good following. I mean, not very big, but
Yeah, no, I think
for
that's
for
makes
like a
sense.
personal Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people that follow me are interested in what in the health side too. So I just decided to kind of start to
Mm-hmm.
slowly shift it. So I totally understand why it would look more like a personal blog.
Yeah.
And like the content that I have been doing has been more like recipe focused,
Mm-hmm.
or like I have been just starting to do blog posts. Um, and like kind of sharing more about me. But I agree, that's something I was even thinking about yesterday, is like I need to do more to make it clear like what I actually do,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had a few people message me and then I'm like, oh, I guess it's not clear from just looking
Yeah.
at my page.
I think the number one thing also with your highlights,
Hmm.
I feel like you need to have either a testimonials or a
Okay.
clients or some sort of highlight where
Yeah.
right now it like seems like again it looks more like a blog. It's a lot more about yourself. And so I think so one of the things I always say with your highlights is it's almost like the services on your website. So it's like, even
Yeah.
having a
Okay.
services highlight or a blog highlight to actually show the fact that you have a blog. And then you can
Hmm.
even just post the pictures from your blog and be like, check out my latest post on this. So
Yeah,
that's what
that's a
I
good
do is
idea.
every time I have a blog post, I add it to my story
Okay.
and then tell people to go to that post. So I don't really talk about it much besides just saying go to it. Because it's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
really the point of getting people to your website is not only for them to read the blog, but then also for them to actually do something. So part
Hmm.
of this, I do want to go over your website as well, because I think there are a few things I would definitely tweak a little bit
Yes.
just
Yeah.
from a business perspective. But let's just talk a little bit more about your Instagram. So
Okay.
how are people finding you now as a client? Is it people you know, or how are you kind of networking?
That's something I'm wondering, like that's something I
Yeah.
totally need help with. But
Okay.
yeah, currently a lot of it is people that I know, and I have networked with some other people in the Twin Cities. And I mean, I try to be really active on my Instagram and comment on other people's posts just to get more engagement. But just recently I've had a few followers that like friends of mine have shared what I'm
Mm,
doing, and they've started to follow me. But not, I mean, other than that, I don't really know how else people are finding me.
yeah.
And that
Okay.
is a question I have for you. How do people find you?
Yeah. Do you have like analytics set up at all for your website?
I I am trying to implement it. I'm still
Okay.
learning how to like get it all in there. But I
Yeah.
do, I mean, I have it on here on like
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Instagram, but yeah.
Well, sometimes you don't know unless you ask. I mean, that's really the
Mhm.
thing about with my followers is usually people have either told somebody about it or they found me through a hashtag or somebody else
Okay.
tagged me in something. So it's hard to tell, but one of the best ways, there's so many different like growth strategies. And that's the part
Yeah.
that, you know, I'm the kind of person that's like, try everything. Have you
Mhm.
done any collaborations with other companies at
I
all?
haven't. Nothing official. Nope.
Okay, so what I would do is start reaching out to other people that aren't in your exact category, but are
Okay.
in similar, like they're not a competitor, but they're maybe like a yoga instructor. That would be perfect because
Okay.
you're more of the like food part, right?
Mhm.
A little bit more
Yep.
of the like healthy eating, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Partner with someone who's more of the fitness side,
Okay.
and then maybe do some sort of joint workshop or class. And right now it's a great time to do it because everyone's at home, using
Mhm.
Zoom or using Facebook Live or even Instagram Live
Okay.
to start doing some more things. I think for you, having a lot more workshops and classes online are going to be a
Okay.
super great way to just get your name out there. Reaching out to companies and saying, hey, do you need a speaker for anything? I think really just putting yourself out there and going down those rabbit holes of hashtags and being like, who else is in this area that isn't a competitor to me, but I can work with. And that's really how you're going to start building, first of all, relationships, but then you're also going to start building followings from their audience. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of my audiences come from people sharing it with their audience. So when somebody tags me, people are like, who's that? So I think it's all about that awareness of your brand and making sure that people, maybe if they don't follow you, at least they've heard your name once or twice. And it's like, oh, I've heard of them. So I think it's like a slow build of like making you become the person in the Twin Cities that does this specific thing. Is there so you mentioned you went through a training.
Yes.
This is there other people in town that do this as well?
There is, yes. There's actually quite a few of us. So the program that I did is online, but they have in-person workshops. And so they had like a Twin Cities workshop.
Okay.
So I met like I think maybe 30 other people finished the class with me. And then there's other people from past years. So there definitely are other people that are like FNTPs like me.
Okay.
And then there's lots of other like health coaches. So similar things.
Totally. So one of the things you want to start thinking about is that's a lot of competition, first of all. Second off, you have to think about how you are unique. So one of the things you have to think about are, for example, maybe if you can just share, what is something about your practice that's different than everyone else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing, I'm a Christian, so I do kind of like put that into my practice, but I'm still trying to figure out what exactly my niche is. My favorite things to like work with people are in regards to acne, because that's something I personally had experience with. So
that is great. Like you should put that in your bio. Like I have had acne my entire life. Like I've gone to 4 different dermatologists. Like that would attract me instantly.
Yeah.
You start talking about acne. You do, graphics about acne. You talk like that. Like there's no one in town that I follow that is like an acne expert. I mean, just think about, and obviously you can throw in the, personal stuff, and that's your faith and that kind of thing is going to go into that personal section of the 25%. So that can be, so it's like, you want that to be part of it, but you also want to make sure that your expertise is really what people are following the account for. And that side of it is more of just getting to know you as a person. So I think it depends on, so I think you really should cause I don't see acne anywhere on here. I don't see a single post about that. So I think just
did like 2 posts ago, I posted about skincare, but I didn't go a lot into it. So my plan is to share like a few posts, like my own story with acne. But yeah, I haven't finished them yet. So
I think you should definitely have like a section on your blog just of acne, Like I think that, because if you think about it, if you type in acne Twin Cities, like see what comes up. Because if no one's talking about it, you might be able to get a lot of the Google search results. And it's people that might not even know what an FNTP is, which a lot of people don't. So that's the thing is, even though you are one, like, I think that's going to be a lot of education. I mean, even if you just do a post that says FNTP and then you just kind of explain it every 15 posts just to remind people, because that's the thing is you're so in tune with what you do. But like someone like me who is not what you do, I don't know what that means. Like, so I think for you, a lot of it is going to be education. And a lot of the content you're going to be writing on Instagram is going to be education, but not the stuff that you're going to share with your clients, if that makes sense. It's going to be general information that is going to attract people to you, but it's not going to, I always say, share the farm or whatever, it's like, you don't spill all of your secrets. Like that's where your coaching comes in. And so I think a lot of people struggle with, how much do I share for free and how much do I charge for? Because that's really, there's this thin line of like, you want to make sure you have enough content that people are interested in, but you also want to not share everything that you do, or no one's going to hire you. So I think what you really need to talk about is, results. You need to talk about before and afters. You need to talk about your clients' processes. You can even put up a graphic of just a testimonial shot of like, if they posted on your Google page or your Facebook page, maybe even a screenshot of and you can even put that on your story if you don't want to put it on your feed, but like of a testimonial. And if they haven't written a testimonial, you should start having your clients write testimonials.
Yeah.
Even just to give it back to you. I always send out a feedback form after a session, and then I utilize that and turn it into a testimonial.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's words that not only is it helpful for you to kind of figure out what people are liking and what you can improve upon, because sometimes they don't want to tell you to your face, like, you should change this. But if it's a feedback form, it's a little bit more like they'll actually be more honest with you, especially if it's maybe they've stopped working with you. So when you said that a lot of the clients you worked with, is it mostly ongoing, or how does your services work?
Yeah, so it's usually I have a couple packages. So I have like a 4-session or an 8-session package.
Okay.
So you would meet with me, like an initial one would be a little bit longer, and then we'd have 3 follow-ups or 6 follow-ups depending on the package that you get. So yeah, ideally it would be like that. But if say like you had a condition or something that we are still trying to work through, we could always add on sessions. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. So I think once those sessions are done, that's when you send the feedback form.
Okay.
So because that's kind of what I do too with my coaching, is I do very similar. So I either do just like one session, or I do like a one with like 3 follow-ups. So I think figuring out at the end, and you can maybe like send an email to yourself to remind yourself to send out a form. How are you actually getting clients? Are you using some sort of software with that? How are you tracking all of that?
So right now I'm using Practice Better to do like scheduling and things like that. But otherwise it's just, I don't have any other type of like scheduling software or anything like that. It's more just through email.
I would recommend looking into some. I use one called Dubsado, and I highly recommend it. It's Dubsado.
I'm familiar with it because I was a virtual assistant.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that might be a great system, because what I do is I send out my feedback form in Dubsado after it's done. So you can even have like a workflow automated so you don't even have to remember to do it. Like once something ends, you can actually just have the workflow like send it out. So I think making sure that it's easy for people. So I looked at your website, and we can talk about that now. So one thing I want to mention, so you have a link tree.
Yeah.
One thing I'd recommend is, like, I feel like right now it's not very, I feel like it needs to be a little bit more strategic. I know the one on the top is kind of temporary, right?
Yes.
The survey. So I think one of the first things, so the top clean beauty products, what is that specifically? Is that a blog post? Is that an opt-in? It's not very clear.
Yeah, so it's both. It's a short blog post, but it's an opt-in. So, and maybe that's something I'm doing wrong because I've never really done an opt-in before. So I just created an opt-in and I put it as a blog post, kind of at the end of the blog post to get more information.
So usually opt-ins are great in blog posts, but it shouldn't be the blog post as the opt-in, if that makes sense. I think you need to have like a guide. Maybe you have like the actual, so I think the question is are you trying to sell beauty products? That's kind of what it sounds like. So I think to me, it kind of sounds like one of those MLMs where you're trying to like sell beauty products. So I think what you need to think about is what's the opt-in that you think would be helpful? Maybe it's a quiz about acne, or maybe it's something that has a little bit more to do with food and a little bit more to do with what you do, because I think that beauty products, that could be just a great post, but I wouldn't have that be your main opt-in. I would definitely recommend thinking about what's going to eventually lead them to wanting you to coach them. I don't think it's giving them free, beauty products, which I do think is a great post just on its own. I would not make that an opt-in, and I also would not put it on your link tree. I would have it be something a little bit more to do with your business. And that could be and I would say free download, and then have like : and then it's like, so that way they know it's like a sign up for it, or free resource. Cause obviously people have been online long enough to know that they have to sign up for their email to get a lot of free stuff. Like that's just how it works. They get it. So I think for you, making sure that it's something that is gonna down the road lead to potential people on your email list that could be potential clients. So that's really what you want to focus your opt-in on. There's a really good book called 300 Email Marketing Tips or something. I'll send it to you. But it's all about getting your email signed up. And I'm actually going to be sending out our email. I'm actually doing some stuff on email this week, so I'll send that to you as well. I do love the 15-minute coaching consultation. I think that should be your first thing on the top,
Okay.
because I think that is like really how you're going to get people to be clients. And
Yeah.
people are less intimidated when there is that free call. So I definitely think that's for sure should be on there. I think the join my email list, that's what you're going to combine with the opt-in. So you're actually probably going to take that away and just have one button for whatever the freebie is that you're giving them, because that will still get them to sign up for your email list.
Yeah.
When it says website, you could probably keep that. And then my favorite products, is that like affiliates, or what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a tab on my website with like different products.
Is it like food products? Is it like,
It's
is
everything.
it everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you could keep that. I'm not sure if you'd need that on the link tree,
Okay.
especially if they're going to head to your website. So I would probably shrink it down to like 3 or 4 buttons, because sometimes the more buttons, the more confused people. You want to be simple. You want to be simple. One thing you can also do is, instead of using Linktree, I can actually show you what I do on mine. If you go to Twin States Collective and you click on here, what are you using? Squarespace? What are you using?
I'm using WordPress.
So what you can do on WordPress is you can actually create a page with just buttons. So one of the things I did, if it loads, is I created an Instagram landing page. So when people go to my website from Instagram, you'll see right here. So it looks like a link tree, but it's actually on my website, and I've actually just like created buttons. And so I'm actually still tracking how many people click to me from Instagram, because that's the thing about Linktree, is you don't see any analytics. You don't see
unless you have to pay. Yeah.
So you can't even see how many people have clicked over from Instagram.
Okay.
With this, I can see how many people a day are clicking on the twinstatescollective.com/Instagram. And I actually have a tutorial on this. I might actually repost that on my Instagram, because I haven't shared it in a while. But basically all you do is you create like a blank page, and then you add a bunch of buttons. That's it. It's very easy. It's branded, and so like, and if they click here, it goes to the main homepage. So if they click on the, it's the actual homepage that you'd see online or whatever. So that's what I would do personally for you is I'm trying to get people off a Linktree, because I just think it's an easy way, especially when you're getting started, but eventually you're going to want to start tracking every piece of traffic you get. So let's actually go to your website, because I think my internet is being slow. All right, here we go.
That's okay.
So one thing, I did see that you had a pop-up for your email. I think it might have gone away because I've been to it before. One thing I would also recommend is also embedding it on your homepage, because a lot of people just flick that away. And that's where your opt-in could also be, is on the homepage. At the bottom of mine, I have my opt-in. So the first thing that you're going to want to do also, it seems like it's, again, all about you. You want it to be about them. It's about them. You have to talk to your audience and talk about what are they struggling with. This seems like a bio. I think you need to talk about, you need to describe your dream person who's coming to your website. Like, are you struggling with acne? Are you struggling with this? Blah, 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 blah. You kind of have to talk more about you. Using the word you a lot on your website is going to really attract people more than talking about yourself. Because that's the thing is, people, if you're a blogger, sure, people are interested, but if you're going to be helping someone, they have to see themselves in your website. I think your website is beautiful. I think it looks awesome.
Thanks.
I think it's very clear. So I think with your blog as well, I kind of want to talk about that mostly, because blogging is really important for search results. That's, to me, one of the main reasons why I blog. So can you explain like your process behind blogging, why you've chosen certain topics?
Yeah. I know I need to like do better with the search engine optimization, and that's something like I have the Yoast plugin, so I'm kind of starting to see it, but I don't totally understand all of it. So pretty much it's just things that I enjoy and that I have felt like writing about. So recipes, I love cooking, and so I like sharing recipes. Skincare, I'm trying to get more into that like acne niche and in skincare. So that's where that one is. Wellness, I just didn't know what, maybe there's a better term for like more general posts.
I think that's a good word.
Okay. And then I just started doing like a monthly reflection. So kind of like a monthly favorites email that I was doing. So I wanted somewhere to send the people on the email, but maybe that's not necessary.
And that's something
I'm,
you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say something I'm kind of like struggling with or wondering is like with the emails that I send out, should I also have a blog post to go with them or somewhere to send them?
Okay. So this is kind of how I use email and blog posts. I usually send out an email every week, and every week I also publish a blog post. In the email, I mentioned the blog post, but I really encourage people to go to the blog post.
Yeah.
Because you're always wanting people to go back to your website. That's really the goal, because once they're on the website, that's where you get them on your, well, if they're coming from like Pinterest or Google, you're wanting them to join your email list. But then really the next step is you're wanting them to book that free call. You're wanting them to be a client.
Yeah.
So you have to start thinking, what's the, they call it a sales funnel. What's like the route that they're going to take to eventually get there? So on every single blog post that you write, making sure that you have somewhere that they can sign up for an email. So if you go to your recipes and we click on the peanut butter cups, let's just do that. We have that and it's all information, but at the end, there's nothing there. Like you need to make sure.
I should have an email sign up on the end of each blog post. Okay.
And again, you could have maybe like download 10 free recipes or something where you have something to give them when they're already on this recipe. So it's something that they can get. Otherwise, you might even at the end want to put a little, I know on WordPress, they have like author bio plugins where you can even just mention. So if somebody discovers this from Pinterest, you can actually put a little bio about yourself and then put some links to your coaching, your that kind of, because that's the thing is you're creating content to eventually attract people to your services. And you need to start thinking less about what you want to write and more about what your clients want to know. So start to think about what are some frequently asked questions. That's something that you could then dedicate an entire post to, even within the stuff that you've learned in your training. So some of the things I talk about are things that are like trying to figure out, like, for example, sorry, something just happened. For example, like I write about Instagram a lot because that's what I teach. So I really try to attract people that want to learn more about Instagram. So I really dig deep on one specific thing in Instagram. So one of the things you might want to start doing is start to think, okay, go through your emails, go through like in your head, what are things people have asked a lot? And instead of making an FAQ page, like literally make an entire blog post about that. So if somebody asks like, why is acne hormonal? Is it that can be an entire post that anyone on the internet would be interested in reading. So start to think about what are things that you know a lot about that you can just start writing about. And it's all about text and content, and that Yoast plugin is really great for that. But I think what you have to really think about is how then are you going to attract them to be clients? So some of the things you mentioned is you drop hints like, oh, I teach this in my class, or, oh, I coach on this. So if somebody is discovering this from, are you pinning a lot of your posts to Pinterest, or how are you sharing all of these blog posts?
I have been, but again, with Pinterest, I don't really know. I just created a pin and then I put it on there. So I don't know like a lot of strategy with that either, or how
we can spend a couple minutes on that. But one of the things that you're definitely going to want to start doing with so this is a great example. On this picture, did you take this picture?
Yes.
One thing you're going to want to do is you're going to put your website name on the bottom of it. So you're going to put, it's MichaelaLaurenWellness.com. You're also going to put text on it so that, like, for example, if I look up peanut butter cups, I'm just going to go to Pinterest right now. If I look up peanut butter cups, I just want to see what happens. Butter cups. You will see, for example, there's text on top. So this is something that when somebody pins it, they know what it says. But what you're going to do is you're also going to add that link on the bottom. So like this person, Modern Honey, they put it at the bottom. So it's really branding you and making sure that when somebody pins it from Pinterest, it's your name is on there so that no one like steals it.
So people are seeing it. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So every time you write a blog post, you're going to want to make sure there's text on top of it. Because let me go back. Sorry.
And so you're saying on the actual, because when I created the pin, I did add text, but I didn't add my logo, which I will go back or I can do that.
Yeah. So,
but you're saying on the actual blog post too, I should have the text.
So
okay.
like, I'll show you my blog real quick. So, because that's the thing, is that's what makes you stand out. If you just have a picture of that, who knows if you took that from somewhere? I don't know, you know? So if you click on my blog, like, I have the entire name of the blog post on every single, like, so like this is my one for this week. So I just wrote tips under 10, how I film and edit videos. That's my blog post this week.
Yeah.
So that way, like, and I do everything square because it fits on, I'm on Squarespace, and so it like fits, but like, you'll see, like, you're going to click on that. If that was just a stock photo, you wouldn't know what it's about. So I, like, this picture is a stock photo I got on at Canva, but I added like the TikTok logo and all the things so that people know when they click on it, so that so I pinned this to Pinterest now, and now people are clicking on it because I've done all the work on Pinterest. But that's something that you have to think about. I'm not sure if we'll quite get to Pinterest. I might walk you through a few things. But,
yeah, that's great.
but like, you know, Pinterest is all about search. It's not a social network. It is a search engine. So making sure that not only is the text on the pin, but also the pin itself looking like something people would search, is going to have more people click on it because it has those texts. So like, I found that there's not a lot of content on TikTok on Pinterest. So I was like, this is a great opportunity. If someone is searching TikTok, my post hopefully will eventually move to the top of the results because people are going to be clicking on it more. So I'll just start to think about, you know, the content that you want is based off of what you eventually want your audience to do for you. And that's to hire you as a coach, but specifically in what niche. And you mentioned that you wanted to do an acne niche. So I think really focusing even your boards on like skincare and all those things. So let's go over to your Pinterest real quick. So if I go over to your show all boards. So yeah, I think starting to pin other people's stuff, but yeah, so like this is good. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. But again, I would also add your, like, the name of this, but then also add this to your blog. So, and then again, yeah, this is good. Is this a blog post?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that kind of stuff, this is good. This is kind of stuff you want to start doing, talking a little bit more about what you offer. But again, like, I would definitely create one that is for skincare, but then not only posting your own stuff, start to repost other people's, because that's really what's going to be helpful for you, is to kind of insert yours inside of it. So it becomes just another pin that people can pin from your board. Because you're actually going to get more traffic if you start posting a lot more content. Like I'll show you, like, I have 100,000 monthly viewers, which is really weird.
Wow.
Like, I don't even post that often, but some of my posts have done really well and consistently get pinned. So that technically counts as a viewer. So like, I really focused on, like, so I have just a board of just my posts, and then I have sections within about different topics that I've written about. So if somebody wants to just see mine, but then all of the other boards are just things like, for example, email marketing. Most of this is stuff I have not written. I'm saving it for the people that follow me as a resource, but also I, like, for example, this one I did write. So I kind of, this one right here. So I found that, like, by just putting mine inside of it, people will want to follow me because I just offered general knowledge in addition to, like, all the things that you do. So I think, you know, Pinterest is like my number one social media traffic driver, more than Instagram.
Is it? Okay.
Okay. Because it's very link centric versus Instagram is more about branding and like networking, but Pinterest is more about direct traffic. So if you're trying to build an audience, not just in the Twin Cities, which, I mean, is most of your audience in the Twin Cities, or can you do everything virtually?
I can do everything virtually. Yeah. And actually on Instagram, I have a big following overseas because I used to live overseas. So
okay.
Yeah.
So that way, like, that's the thing about Pinterest. If you can work with anyone anywhere in the world, it's a really great platform to actually start finding some potential people that are, maybe they're looking for acne products. They're literally searching that. Like, I would search that. If I had acne, I would be like, I need some good tips.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. If you're the one that's giving them the tips, and then maybe eventually down the road, you have like a YouTube channel or something where you're becoming an expert in this. There's this guy I started following on YouTube. His name is Hiram Highly recommend
Okay.
following him. HYRIM.
I
And
feel like he's been popping up in my feed.
yeah, I know. And I started subscribing to him in maybe December, and he blew up in
Okay.
January. Like he got like 500,000 subscribers in a month. Like it was insane. He
Wow.
had maybe
Wow.
100,000. He's, I think, at 1 million now. And he literally just talks about skincare. Like that's all he talks
Mhm.
about. He's in Hawaii. Like I become a big fan because I'm like, I really like his tips. Like I've actually purchased products that he's recommended. And now he's
Yeah.
become this go-to skincare expert. So just being consistent with what you have niched down to has, like, for me, Instagram marketing the Twin Cities has been my niche for 3 years, and people now know me for that. So I think being
Yeah.
consistent, I think you have a lot of competition with the people that you've done these things with. So making sure you
Mhm.
stand out in your niche is going to be really, really important. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, let's kind of close up and kind of
Okay.
put this into perspective. So what are going to be the first things that you do after this? What do you think?
I think re-looking even just like at my highlights and adding more, reaching out to the people that I have worked with and asking
Yeah.
for testimonials so I can get that on there.
Yeah.
Thinking about content in the future and starting to really like niche down into the acne realm and creating those posts. I've started it, but yeah, posting about like my own story and making that more prominent on my blog.
I would
and
do
then
I would do like an IGTV, even like a video of you talking about it. That might be really powerful because I think even like showing the products you use or something I've done an acne story on my YouTube channel, and it did really well. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. But I felt like I wanted to share that information with people, but then always making sure you always come back to the fact that you can hire you. So I think that's the thing. It's not just sharing info and then just like stopping. You have to constantly be like, what's the call to action for them? What are they supposed to do with this information? Is there a free guide they can download? Is there some sort of, do you have a program they can join? So making sure that the content always comes back to where they can work with you. Because that's the thing is if you're just posting content, it's not going to help anyone besides that one read. But if they're going to like really want to learn more about this, you're going to need to offer them things that they can take and use. So that's my biggest piece of advice. So I think you have a lot to do, which is going to be awesome. Hopefully you'll be able to spend some time during quarantine on that.
For sure.
But yeah, otherwise I think that your account looks awesome. I think with just a little bit of tweaks, I think you'll be able to start attracting more people. I mean, skincare is something I like to follow. I think it's something a lot of people struggle with. So I think it's needed in the Twin Cities. I don't see a lot of posts about that. So I think that'll be a really good niche for you that will make you stand out. So
for sure. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm leaving this like motivated and ready to like keep working. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. This was fun for me too. So, all right. Well, I'm going to stop recording.